Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio. Let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Vanzan, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon. You're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
Hello. Welcome to BKS1. Y'all, I almost forgot to unmute after Jeff just told me to unmute. But hello, and welcome to BKS1 Radio, the Our Show. It's your girl, Latoya Chanel. My partner, Miss Queen B, got some business she got to take care of today, so she will not be in the building. But she is here in spirit. So, Miss Queen B, we miss you today. But y'all know she a nurse, so you know she always got a bunch of stuff going on, and it is what it is. She got to handle what she got to handle. So, but she'll be back. In the meantime, I do have some beautiful ladies who are in the studio with me. So, as a matter of fact, I just went directly to them because, again, Queen B is not here and you guys are. So we just want to go directly to you and just start the conversation. So first and foremost, let me see. Is this working? It is. So first and foremost, everybody, please help me welcome to the studio. I'm going to go from my left to right. You got Jessica, Shalonda, and Tiffany in the studio today. I just want everybody to know that we do have a group chat, so it is what it is. So we have a group chat that we have started from the last time when the ladies were here, when we did the ladies portion of the show in Black Love, and just getting different perspectives and different opinions, and just sharing our thoughts, sharing the process, sharing the journey, right? Because it's the sharing. Number one, sharing is caring, but it's the sharing that is going to help us to heal, and the sharing that is going to help us to get to different places. So again, as I always say, we started off with the men because we don't want to be seen as man haters here on the show. So we started off with the men, and we were just talking about their thoughts on Black Love, how they feel about things, why are we not getting together, what are some of the things that we need to do to get us together. And now it is the ladies' turn, and we started off last week, and we had a good dialogue, I felt like, last week. And so, we need to get back into it today. I think we've pretty much, y'all help me out because, my memory might be a little shot. I'm getting old. I think we've kind of talked about at length, what some of the issues are and what, we are all experiencing in the dating realm, right? Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. So just an overview. Let's just go down a list of some of the things. Y'all just throw them out there. Some of the things that you're experiencing. I can start. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, go ahead. Into the mic, girl. Go ahead.
So I know last time, I was talking about someone that I was kicking it with or whatever. But how do y'all feel about circling the block with not the person I was kicking it with before, not the balcony climber, but
done.
But
go ahead.
Like, so I noticed that a lot of men from my past, not even a lot, maybe like two or three, are now coming from, like, they're coming to surface. So I guess they know now I'm out, I'm healed, and I'm open to dating. And these are people that I've known like almost 20 years ago, before my son was even born. Yeah. And now they're like, oh, I want to take you out. What's good? Da da da. And one, I try, but it's like he's not consistent. Like, he's not. It's always WYD. But then the other one, who's much older, it's like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And not that. And the crazy part is, I didn't have any bad blood with them. Right. It was just life happened.
Yeah. That happens.
We've seen each other, in passing at different events or parties or whatever. Yeah. They will always see my picture, or if I post something, they'll compliment me or whatever like that. So now that they're single and I'm now finally single, it's like, what's up? Mm-hmm. So one, actually, he's older. He's 8 years older than me. And it's like, And like I said, the vibes was good when we were kicking it last time. But I felt like he was older than me, of course, but younger. He wasn't mature enough, but now he is, and it's just like, And now he wants to court me. He was like, "Yo, I want to take you out." I felt like we.
So your question is, what is your thoughts on circling the block?
Yes.
Why not?
I'm guilty. Okay.
Why not? I don't see.
That's one thing I never heard us really talk about.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like, how do y'all feel about genuinely like giving someone? Again, there was no bad blood between y'all, because if it was something bad, then I'm like, nah, yo, like I don't care how much you change, like it is what it is. But the fact that we never had that opportunity, but we always remained.
So then
solid
I
with
guess
each other.
okay. So then and everybody that's in the chat, what's your thoughts on circling the block? I may not be the best person to answer this question because I'm a recycler.
Okay.
I recycle in a heart. I don't know if that's good, bad, and different. Next week, I'll have a therapist on with us. But you know what I mean? And they can talk about it because, you'll hear a lot of people that'll be like, if it didn't work before, it may not work again. And
that never happened in this case.
Right. And you'll hear people say stuff like that. But I'm not a believer in that. I do believe that people grow. I do believe that timing is a part too in things. Right. I do believe that, sometimes you meet somebody and they might be in one space and then you re-meet them again and they're in another space completely and totally different. Right. So I don't think you can just throw the baby out with the bathwater and then just be like, nope, never again, because before you was, you know what I mean? Now, again, if that person was punching you in the face or, doing a bunch of foolery or foolishness, then 9 times out of 10, they might end up doing that again. But if that's not the case, if that's not the case and they're still a good person at heart and you guys had whatever kind of chemistry or whatever it is that you had going on, I don't see anything wrong with it. What do you ladies think?
Go for it.
Okay. I'm with you.
You don't have nothing to lose. I guess so. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have any bad blood like with any guys that I've kicked it with, talked to. Well, I don't have bad blood right now, with anyone that I was in. That I've either dealt with, kicked it with, or was even in a relationship with. I promised myself when I get into a new relationship, I'm going to have to change my number because that's how my exes have, honestly, they know what they had. And sometimes people don't realize what they have until it's truly gone. And my thing is you can't recycle everybody because some people still keep those traits. They just want to see if they can get with you because they just going to try to shoot their shot.
Well, you can't circle everybody because at some point in time in a relationship, you found out that you and this person are not compatible.
Yeah, so like
you know what I mean?
You have to also question, Toya, to that. Yeah. You have to question like, okay, if everything is good for us now and everything was good before, what happened?
What happened,
And he asked that question too. And he was just like, I punched myself because he was like, I don't understand why I never pursued you back then. Like, what was it? And he was like, and then another thing he did, he said, well, if you felt the same way, why you never said anything to me? He said, why you never said nothing to me? I'm like,
Toya, is that fear you were talking about last week?
The who?
Wasn't you talking about, somebody mentioned, or was it you, about the fear of commitment?
Did we talk about fear of commitment?
Was that you, Jess, that mentioned something about, you had asked a question,
you asked a question
and you had mentioned fear of commitment. Yeah. Is that part of this?
Maybe that was he had a fear of commitment at the time and let you go.
He had a lot going on though, just with.
I mean, it sounds like it was
kids,
just timing.
Mother. Yeah, it's definitely timing.
Yeah, timing. Yeah. Timing is usually an issue. Hey, Tasha. Tasha said nothing wrong with circling the block as long as they've grown for the better.
Yes.
So listen, I see nothing wrong with it as long as, like Tasha said, as long as they've gone for the better and as long as, again, people don't always work out in the time period that you may want them to, but, later on might be the better time. Right. You know what I mean? If it didn't work then, it might work now. You honestly, you never know.
I think go for it.
I'm just saying, you never know. Tiffany is like, go for it.
Go for it.
Well, we're gonna talk behind the show, so
look, and your voice,
gonna talk after the show. Is all I'm saying. But again, so some of the issues, like I said, some of the issues that a lot of people are experiencing, and number one, timing. Timing, because all of the issues don't have to be something that's necessarily facetious or just he was a cheater, he was a liar. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't always have to be what we're experiencing now. Like sometimes it could be timing with people. Hell, I might be experiencing some time. Anyway, it might be timing with some people. Some of the stuff that you're experiencing. What are some of the other things?
Like you said, maturity.
Maturity.
Meeting them at different times. If you met them at 20, you connected, but he wasn't ready or you wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Because of maturity levels. Yeah, definitely.
Emotionally mature. Right? So you mentioned maturity, but I am encountering, hope they ain't watching, but I am encountering a number of folks who are not emotionally mature, right? And don't know that they are not emotionally mature, and are not even on a path or journey to become emotionally mature because they are unaware that they are emotionally mature. And I don't need to be the one to bring it to your attention. It just is what it is, right? Because at this point, you 45, 50, 55, and it's like me trying to explain to you, you understand what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know if I need to be the one to necessarily do that. So I'm definitely experiencing that. There are a lot of people who are stuck. And of course that goes for men and women, but I'm just talking about from my standpoint and what I'm meeting. There are a lot of people that are stuck. They are just stuck in whomever it is that they are, right? Tell them to watch. But it's there are a lot of people that are just stuck, right?
That is stuff.
So that's some of the stuff. Tiffany, what are you experiencing? Hey, shout out to Crystal. Crystal said, "Spin the block. If he was good to you, why not? It's familiar anyway." So
familiar.
That's why I really believe in that whole spinning the block.
Familiar. Like I said, nothing was bad at all.
Yeah.
See, and at least you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You have to start.
Tiffany, what are some of the things you are experience, because we're going to go through some of the stuff we're going through, and then we're going to move past that because we don't want to dwell on the negative, and we don't want to dwell on what the problems are because we're trying to find solutions.
The Knicks won last night, right?
So what are some of the things that you're experiencing?
Yeah, that's stuck part.
The stuck part. Yeah,
the stuck part.
Yeah.
And the one thing I don't want anyone to feel like is like they're being pressured. One thing I've learned to do is you tell me where you're at, and what I'm going to do is have a choice. I have a choice. You're telling me this is where you are. And it might not even, and here's the thing, y'all, when I'm learning, matter of fact, my high school sweetheart, me and him are just still dumb cool. He sent me something yesterday that out of the blue that talked about how men actually think. And I said, wow. I responded and said, us women don't even know the half, and we think we got it together.
No, we don't.
When
we do not have it together.
We don't have it together. Toya, I honestly thought for years that I was this amazing relationship person to help people, because I've helped people get married.
No.
I can hook up anybody except for me. And so I'm like, I must have it together. The golden ticket. But that stuck part, what I'm learning, Toya, and Jess and Sha, is that when they're stuck, it don't even necessarily got to do with another woman. And a lot of times it comes off like, I just need to be by myself. I just need to clear my head. And I'm like, you got somebody in the back. You got somebody around. But I'm learning that could really be the truth. They just might be having emotional maturity to deal with, and just trying to figure out this thing, one, called being a man, two, this thing called life, how to balance that, and how to balance what life expects of them versus what they expect from themselves, and fulfilling both.
Yeah.
So that stuck piece is super powerful.
Yeah, it is. And there's something else that you just said. You said, as women, we don't know the half. We do not. All of us are women of a certain age right now, and we are all still learning. Like I tell you, when the guys come here, and I mean, and you can have conversations with, people you're interested in, dating, relationship, whatever. And when you want to get that person's viewpoint. But I feel like sitting here behind this microphone and doing some of these shows with the fellas, there is so much information I get. And like I said, there is stuff that they say on air, and then there's stuff that they say after the show. Like me and B were telling you like last week. We do not know. And it's like, and we think we know, right, but we literally have no idea how men operate. And men will tell you, we are simple, we are easy, 1 + 1 got to equal 2, it's logic, it's this, it's that. But somewhere in there's a breakdown in translation by the time it gets to us.
I think because we don't necessarily believe everything that they're saying.
We don't. And for whatever it is, no matter if it's our triggers, no matter if it's our experience, no matter if it's whatever we've been told to believe or programmed to believe as women, right? But the fact of the matter is we literally have no clue.
Yeah.
We have no clue. So yeah, that's interesting to me. I'm still learning. Like me and I'll talk to you guys, in our group chat, and I have my other friends I talk to, and we're still sitting here like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. What the funny thing is, right? Just because I have to creep this in because I gotta do segues, but with our live event coming back up on June 7th, I'm gonna clap that up. Okay. So yes, with our live event coming back up on June 7th, so make sure you guys go to Eventbrite and get your tickets so that you can be in the building for the next one. If you were not, how did I lose the thing? Okay, here we go. Yeah, if you were not in the building for, are you touching this too? And I am, Jeff? I'm on other screen now, go ahead. Okay, so if you were not in the building for the last one, then hopefully you make sure you're in the building for this one because it was really good. It's an intimate space, so make sure you get your tickets before they're sold out. Because it's an intimate space, there's not going to be a lot of space because we just want to make sure that everybody in the building, gets a chance to express themselves. A lot of times people do here in the chat, and we want to make sure you get a chance to. Anyway, at the last event, there was something that Jason said that we still talk about to this day. I said on my microphone with all my all-knowing self, right? thinking that I just knew, how people operate, us as black people, men, women, And I said, so you mean to tell me if you're a man and your friend is dating somebody, you can't say to your friend, she is a good woman, this is a good woman, you should focus on this, or you should do this, or you should do that. I said, you mean to tell me? I said, isn't that what we did back in the day? Isn't that how we got together and how we created community and how people were introduced this out of other? Every man in that building said absolutely not.
Why?
Absolutely not. Jess, you don't remember when they said that? You don't remember when they said? Jess was like, that's fighting words. I mean, not Jess. Jason said no. He said no. That's fighting words. Yeah, he said that's fine. But even Trev, the relationship coach, said no. You don't do that. No. The question was, can you say to another man, you got a good woman right there? Yeah. And Jason said no.
And they said no.
Yeah,
he said those are fighting words. Trev, the relationship coach, said no, you don't do that. And some of the husbands that were in the audience were like, yeah, no, like, why are you paying so much attention to my woman that you know if she good, bad, or indifferent? Yeah, that's not something you can say. So I'm just using that as an example that as a woman, this was something I thought was okay and something I thought you could do. And apparently the general man consensus was like, no.
So is it wrong for us to tell another female that they got a good man? And so is it?
No, because I think we talk more and we talk more in detail.
We share more with
yeah.
our girlfriends about our dude. So from what they're going on based on what we tell them, men, a lot of men don't talk to them. Men don't talk to their friends
to other men, especially about relationships.
Right. They don't.
Yeah.
We go all in.
So that so that's what one of the guys said. How are you close enough to my woman to know if she good, bad, different, this, that, or other? How do you know?
Especially if I didn't have that conversation with you to know
right.
What she is.
Right.
So that means that I observed, I saw that.
So I'm thinking, well, this is the mature thing of clearly y'all do this. As a woman, I'm like, well, men talk like that, and they was like, no, Toya, we don't.
Oh my.
We don't say that. Those are fighting words. Why you watching my woman that closely?
So, but maybe they a little different. Because I was gonna say maybe the dude might be screwing up in some areas. I'm like, you got a good one.
Here's how Jason. Here's how Jason explained it. Here's how Jason explained it. If you're screwing up, because we addressed that, he said, if you're screwing up, the difference is, I can talk to my boy like I'm trying to protect my boy from something. Like, yo, she about to find out because da-da-da-da-da. So that's me protecting my boy because I know you screwing up and you doing this, that, or the other. But I can't say, I can't say you messing. No, can't say that.
So this has to make it about him and just make it about your boy and what his faults or whatever it is. That's about to make him lose her versus bringing her in it.
Yes,
and making it like,
you can't do that.
What's good?
When I was married, somebody said it. My late husband's very good friend, who's married, and he said it to him in a parking lot. We were leaving church in the church parking lot, and he said, "Doc, you got a good one right there." He said, "Keep that one. Do right by her." And I'm hitting him. You hear this? You hear this? And we just chuckled and laughed. But I didn't think. I said, "Tell him again, Rev." He said, "Yeah, you got a good."
And how did your husband at the time receive that?
He was cool with it. He didn't.
Cool. Okay.
Well, to me, he was.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
On the inside, he might be like, "You looking at my wife?"
Like, I don't. Right. Yeah. So see, I don't know. And maybe he was, but to me, he was like, he said, "Doc, trust me, I'm good on this." That's how he responded.
Yeah.
And we all just laughed, but he didn't give off any kind of vibe like.
So then, are the guys missing guidance within themselves?
I was going to say that
because they're
not guidance. But I was going to say, do they feel? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, because they're missing like that. Like for me, I would think that's a good thing because back in the day, you did that. Like you got a good woman, like
right.
But if they're not getting that anymore, are they missing that guidance that back in the day they used to get, which is why relationships lasted back in the day?
I don't know.
So is it safe to say that the guys can say that even behind closed doors and just not in front of the woman, or just don't say it?
No,
period?
they don't say They don't say a period.
They said period.
They said period. They said those fighting words.
Oh.
Why are you paying attention?
Is it like a form of like, I wouldn't say insecurity, but
we are going to look on this June 7th live event. Make sure you go and get your tickets at Eventbrite right now before it is sold out. We are going to circle back to that, and we are going to ask the fellas when we are back in all together and be like, listen, is this a problem in why we are not staying together? Because no one is saying this to anybody, right? So having said that there is so much as women we do not know the half, right? What is it? Because Tiffany, you said it, so I'm going off of that. So with that being said, what are our next steps? What do we do as women? Knowing that we don't know as much as we thought we did know, how do we move forward?
We shut up and ask.
Listen.
But we have to ask the right questions. We have to be careful about the questions that we even ask. So we have to kind of check the temperature, test the temperature of the man, and try to gauge what question to ask and what question not to. So in other words, how to. So we have to ask the question not just to get an answer that we want to hear. Ask a question that's really beneficial for this man.
And that's a great point, right? Because a lot of us ask questions and we're waiting for it, like you said, the answer that we want to hear. And a lot of us communicate and it's one-sided, right? It's like, this is what I want to hear, this is what I want to know, and then you better answer this right or else we about to have an argument. Instead of really asking the question and really listening to understand. You know, not listening for a response, but listening to understand where someone is coming from.
Because
right?
some of our questions, I'm not trying to be funny, can come off as bullying.
Yeah.
Right? When you know a man is already in a weak state, emotionally, like you had said, or just dealing with stuff and they're stuck. I can't get over that stuck piece, Toya. You brought that thing out and it's the truth. If you know he's in that place, why beat him down with questions that, one, you could probably already answer, and then two, it's going to really piss him off if you ask him these questions because it's going to touch something that he might not even feel comfortable enough to answer yet.
Yeah.
And and so even like you mentioned, the timing of the relationship, there's a time to ask certain things, and we have to use wisdom and discernment. Like, should I push this button, or should I just leave that one alone and just go in this direction?
Well, like you said, you have to do temperature checks when you're going into any conversation. I mean, especially when you're going into someone that you're dating.
Yeah.
But I mean, we do it as girlfriends. I call my girl, I just need to vent, or I need your opinion, or how are you? My guy best friend that I was just telling you about, we start our conversation off as, how's your mental health today?
I text my ex today and said, one of my exes, and I said, how's your heart? And he said, what do you mean by that? Right. Because I asked him, he gave me feedback before I asked that. So that merited me to say, how's your heart? And he said, what you mean? So I sent him a video because texting can be misconstrued. It has no voice. Yeah. I was at my desk at work. I sent him a video and said, meaning this, and this. And then his response was, okay. And then I left it alone. Once that okay hit, I left it alone and said, okay, his mind could be going in other places now. But I didn't say anything that was harmful. He just needed to know, why are you asking this question? What's the purpose of your question? Like, what you mean by this?
So my question is, are temperature checks, wisdom, discernment, all those things, is that a part of our femininity?
I think so.
It is.
Yeah.
Because we're nurturers by natural nurturers.
And we have to, and this, like she said, how? So, what's wrong with you today versus, you all right? What's up? What's wrong with you today? And it's like that's like a and it's a temperature check for us too, because again, it's how you ask them, and it gives them opportunity to say, well, look, should I talk to her about this or should I not?
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is, right, will they trust us with this information? That's the thing, because a lot of men say, oh, I don't talk to her because you're gonna throw it back in my face. Like the minute something go wrong, that's why I you know what I'm saying? Oh, you a punk, you soft, you this. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? So we have to create that, I was told.
That space.
We have to create that space for them to even be able to answer those questions that we're asking.
So if that's a part of our femininity, right? So one of my friends and I were having a discussion on what soft is. What is being soft? So I want each one of you to answer that. So, Jess, what is being soft as a woman? And particularly as a black woman, what is being soft?
But is it being soft, or you mean like being soft for them, or being put in a soft space? Because that's two different things.
What, as a woman, just as men say that black women need to be softer for them, what is being soft?
So for me,
go more closer to the mic. Go ahead.
For me, being soft is providing that nurturing space.
Nurturing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nurturing. I do, and I said it in the chat. Dang, I know I like them because I want to feed them. And that is the soft part of me.
Okay.
If I want to do stuff for you naturally,
Mm-hmm.
it's over.
You're gonna be soft.
I'm soft.
Mm-hmm. Shalonda, what's being soft?
Again, as I said, I could be a little rough around the edges, so my tone, the way I speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for me, is the way I speak. So again, with the guy that I'm, I'm like a whole kid around him. So it's like I'm actually that soft, girly girl, and I love every bit of it. I don't have to be like, you know what I'm saying? So me, it's tone and it's the way I speak to them because of, and it only got in the way they speak to me. I have to control the way I speak to them. So for me, being soft is my tone.
Yeah.
And how I speak.
Okay.
Love that.
Okay.
That girly
Tiffany,
piece
go
like
ahead.
shifted my shondo because I get that. That whole girly part, I love every bit of that. I think being soft for me is I'm a very hands-on, like touchy-feely person, and so being soft for me is just by touching, and it doesn't have to be like nothing major, but just by touching and just being available and just showing up, and showing
being
up.
present.
Being present.
Being present is how you exude your
my
your
softness is
yeah.
even when I don't want to. Getting if I hear something in your voice and I know something's off and I'm dead tired, I'm getting out of bed and I'm on my way. That kind of soft let you know, listen, I ain't got to say nothing, but I just want you to know I'm here. And if you choose to say anything, I'm here to listen. What do they say now? We listen and we don't judge.
Right.
So
So presence, communication, and acts of service. Is what you're saying. Okay. I did a brief survey on what softness is with some men, and so I'm just going to give you some of their answers, right? Like I'm going to give you.
I need my ears clear. Okay, I'm listening.
I'm going to give you some of their answers. The first one was communication style. I was told that we as Black women, sometimes we come across as sounding like men. Like, come on, bruh, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Shalonda, why you raise your finger?
I just said that because
Shalonda be pounding against the wall like
she was like, I do.
What you doing? What you talking about?
So I was told communication style, sometimes we come across as being too aggressive in our communication style. And even if we're not sounding like man with the bruh, come on, and this, that, or the other, sometimes even the way we ask questions is sometimes too assertive. Right? It's too assertive and it's too aggressive, right? And there's a fine line between being a woman and standing and having boundaries, right? And letting someone know that you have boundaries and stepping over that line and being aggressive and assertive because you trying to put in somebody's face, I'm not the one or the two or the right? There is a line between the two. So communication is definitely one of them. I was told grace. I was told grace. I was told a lot of us do not operate in grace. A lot of us are so hardened and so tough because of everything that we deal with in life that we don't operate in a gracious feminine spirit around men. Right? We come across as, oh, I'm hard, the world's hard, I got the world on my shoulders, this, that, or the other. And then we want men to step in and act masculine around us when honestly there's no space for that because you have already given off this masculine energy. So, so it's like, how do we get back to softness, right? How do we get back to being gracious? How do we get back to this soft and feminine communication style as a whole? You know what I mean? As a whole, as a group of women, right? Because as I'm having these conversations, I'm going to just let y'all into my life a little bit, right? So as I'm having this conversation, I'm thinking to myself, let me just tell you a little bit about my weekend, right? I swear to God, I'm sharing this with y'all. True story. I can't even make this up. So Mother's Day, I had to save my family and my next door neighbor's family from a fire. right?
Oh my God.
House is on fire, hers, mine, the whole shebang. I'm running around screaming. My son, who is a fireman, just so happened to be at the house. He's trying to put out the fire next door. The fire is on the fence and my house. Her house got little girls in it. We running over to get the little girls. Like, this is how I spent my Mother's Day, right? So I'm running around, adrenaline's high. I'm all over the place. I'm doing all of this. This is my Mother's Day. Come down from that, everybody knows I'm a caregiver, which means everything is on me 24/7, right? So I'm saving people in fires. I'm caring for everybody in my household. I'm paying all my bills, mortgage, everything else. I got a full career where I'm a director. I got all this stuff. But in the presence of a man, I got to put all of that aside. And I got to be soft. And I got to be feminine. And I got to be gracious. And I have to talk like this. Right. And I have to make sure I'm not being aggressive. And I have to make sure I'm not being assertive. And I need to... How do we do that?
I was about to say, I'm mentally exhausted listening to you.
Right?
Mentally exhausted.
So how do we do that? How do we find the balance? How do we come down from that? How are we able to change up and switch up? Or is it just something that's natural when you're in front of the right person and it happens?
Right. It is natural in front of the right person. But but it also takes a minute because I have definitely dated, and it took 1 or 2 dates before I'm like, and I could take that breath. So as they ask for grace, they also have to accept and give grace to us because we have all of that on our plates. We're not the teen love and the 20-year-old love that gets to develop with. Right. We're coming with stuff, and it's not baggage, because I don't like saying that. I don't come with baggage. I try to leave a clean slate. We talked about that before. I try to go into to new things with clean slate, but we do come with life. So just as they need grace, they have to learn to give us grace too.
Right. You're right. Shalonda, Tiffany, how do we come down from that? Because there's a lot of times where we don't recognize that we're doing it. Even in the face of men, we may not recognize that we are. You know what I mean? Like we don't recognize that we're like, oh my God, no, this that. Now what we do with each other is, is one thing, but in the face of someone you like, or you're dating, or you're in a relationship with, that's something. That's something else. I was told a good example was.
What if they're like that?
Huh?
What if they're like that?
Like what?
Like aggressive.
Then you got to be softer. You don't match aggression with aggression.
You don't. That's true.
And you definitely ain't going to meet his.
True.
You can't beat him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how aggressive you are all in his face, you can't beat him. Right. At the end of the day. Right. So it's like, you want to come down. You want to be like,
I think it's a choice, Toya. I think we have a choice. Like, before anything blows up, we have a split second to say we're going to go this way or we're going to go that way. And then there's the outcome. Something my daddy always says, the choices you make lead to the outcome you deserve. So if I know that I'm having this kind of day, first of all, I don't know how I would have been able to talk to anybody after what Toya just experienced. Like, I would need the rest of the afternoon.
Child, I ordered a pizza and watched Netflix about 8 o'clock, and that was it.
But Toya, I wouldn't know what to do. But at the end of the day, if I'm dating somebody and they called me in the middle or right after that, I would have to be like, choose to just, let me just give me a second. I'll get back to you or whatever, because I need to just woosah for a second because I just had a bad experience, involving family, involving the neighbors, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But we have to choose how we're going to respond before we actually open our mouth. And I think that some things we can practice how to compartmentalize certain things.
Yeah.
We just choose not to because as women we feel like we got to get out what we got to say. We got to go ahead and go ahead with all this rah-rah and then think that he because he's the man and the leader that he's supposed to be the one to accept us in that fashion. When the truth of the matter is we were created to do this, be this nurturing, this compassionate person. They were created to work. And there's a scripture that talks about how the woman handles the affairs of the household and everything. And the Bible is clear. Toya, I know you know it. It lists everything that this woman did. And in the midst of doing all this stuff.
I mean, aside from that getting up early thing. Listen,
right.
I know what the word says. Up early. I know what the word says. You know that. But all that getting up early, I be like, God, you know my heart.
Listen, Toya's like, it ain't going to happen. But at the end of the day, you know what it said at the very end? That this woman is being praised. It didn't say that this woman was a problem. And I think at times we have got to learn how to, you know what? This is what we're here for. God expects us as women to be the softer side to that man. And if we realize that we're supposed to be that softer, and I'm going to say something to you that people probably won't agree with. I've gotten shut down for this before.
Okay.
But we have to embrace, especially if you're preparing for marriage, embrace that softness, because submission is a package.
Yes, it is.
It's not just one particular thing.
Yes, it
Submissive can be so beautiful
Yes, it can
if
be.
we operate in it the way we're supposed to and not look at it as being
servitude.
There it is.
Wait, but it also submission comes with responsibilities and duties on their end too.
Oh, of
And
course.
I think that's
Of
what,
course.
Like they
you
want
got to
the
submit to the
submission.
right person.
Right.
No, yeah, but I'm saying they want the submission. They all want the submission
Without the responsibility.
Without the
responsibilities that comes with it. Because if I'm going to submit to you and I'm going to nurture you and I'm going to care for you,
right,
it comes with emotional availability.
Absolutely.
It comes with, and they don't like
It comes
hearing
with
this,
emotional maturity.
financial responsibility. And it's not that we're asking, and we're not gold diggers. I don't think anybody in this room is a gold digger. But it comes with financial responsibility.
I'm just not going to date one that's broke.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
I'm gonna be honest. You know what I mean? I did that. I've been there, done that.
There's
I got my reason.
emotional, there's spiritual. If you're not spiritually supporting me, and that was a thing,
right?
You're not spiritually supporting me. How am I going to submit to you?
Right.
So, yes, I would love to be that soft submissive again, but you have to bring something to the table too.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I'm not seeing it out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's rare, and I think it's few and far between. And I think out of all the frogs that we kiss, right, there's going to be one or two or whatever that is going to be like, this is what I think the epitome of a man is, or this is what I think is it. Or, as I mentioned last week, because my word for 2025 is alignment, this is what I am in alignment with. This kind of relationship, this kind of treatment, this kind of man, this kind of, this is what I'm in alignment with. So I think, there's a lot of frogs that are going to be like, nah, submit, because we just throwing a word around because it's popular, but not because they necessarily know what it entails. Right?
And that's what I guess part of emotional intelligence is.
Of course, of
knowing
course,
what it entails.
Of course, of course, and to Tiffany's point, I'm sorry, everybody on Facebook. For some reason, I have to go out and come back in, and then I can see your comments, which
I
is
had
really
to do the same thing too.
Yeah, which is really
you have to
weird.
Find the live, because you're in the video, because that's where I was at first too.
Yeah,
you have to go and find the live of it.
Yeah, that's what I am, and for some reason the comments are, Oh, thank you. My comments are up on the screen. Okay, wait. So I wanted to read a few of these here. Let's go back. I'm gonna go back. Here we go. Okay, I read Crystal. Crystal says spin the block if he was good to you or not, especially if he's familiar. Tasha said, I am still learning. And got my tickets. Thank you, Tasha. She also said Jason schooled her while we were at the event. She said because I didn't know either. Kamaya, am I saying it right? Which one is it? Kamaya said it's giving insecurity in the men. She said, I feel like they have closed doors, heart to heart. I feel like they have closed doors, heart to heart. Okay. Hey, Miss Jerry, B's mom is watching.
Oh, precious.
Kamaya said tone definitely plays a part. What's your other daughter's name? What's your daughter's name?
Samia. Is Samia in there? Kai.
Kai said yes. Kai was agreeing with us. Tasha said, I was told feeding someone is nurturing. Again, what is a man's definition of soft? So we went through that. Kai said, I agree if I want to cater to and if I want to feel like I don't need to wear the pants. Okay, go ahead. Kamaya said, soft is listening twice as much as we speak. Somebody is raising the right people right here, okay? Kamaya said, no, because I really need to focus on that for a minute. I really need to focus on that for a minute because that's what we are talking about right here as women. Yes, again, we have gone through all the stuff that's out here. We have gone through all the problems with men. We have gone through what they doing, what they like now, what the changes are, why they not this. We have gone through all of that, right? Now we're talking about us. Yeah. We are focused on us and what we can do and being accountable, right? And so when Kamaya just said listening twice as much as we speak, our emotions are what lead us to making sure that we got to have the last word or the first word or all the words in between or talk over or all the things, right? And it's like that is definitely something that we need to make sure we're doing. That's a part of that grace. That's a part of that femininity. That's a part of that softness. So she said, listening twice as much as we speak, upbuilding, she wants to be in her inner child around a person, wanting to do for them naturally, being their listening ear, their peace, being helpful without being asked. It's the extra mile we go to pay attention and act on what we discovered. Okay, Kamaya.
She's a lover girl.
I love it.
Tasha said grace, that's it. Miss Jerry said, yep, we can't beat them. You know what I mean? It's like, you might as well come down. If they up here, you better come right back on down here and just be like, because eventually, you know what? I have tried this out, and again, not to segue into my event, but when we were at the event and we were first coming in, you know, everybody knows my event was booked with, you know, the other owner of the space. So we had already mapped out everything, right? But I don't think that was conveyed to who was there that day for my event, who, shout out to him, you know, because that's my people's now. But when I first got there, I was like, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this. And he was like, no, you're not, Toya. And I was like, well, he said, I can do this, this, and this. He was like, Toya, you ain't messing with my money. We not doing this, that, this, that. And so now me and him, like, I got people that brought tickets coming in and he trying to change the game up. And so now I see we both going here. I immediately was like, my voice got higher.
Right.
I was like, you know what? Let me just get softer on this for a minute. I was like, well, I know that, you know, this is going to be, you know, a bit of a thing. But, you know, I had the conversation with him and he said, I mean, we can call him and we can say, and I'm not trying to take any money from you. I'm not trying to do this or that. And he started doing this. Mm-hmm. He started. Now, if I had tried to match or meet him, we'd have been like this. Oh, boy would have had to show up. It would have been a whole thing, right? But I was like, you know what? Let me cut. And I you know, told my friend the story. And he was cracking up laughing. But I was like, no, I had to get softer. I had to get softer. I had to be like, oh, I do understand that you have a stake in this and this. Like I had to schmooze and I had to be soft and I had to be feminine. So by the time y'all came in, we was the best of friends. But prior to y'all coming there, we was doing this. We was doing this, and I'm like, what you not going to do it? And then I was like, ooh, right here with it.
Yeah, you had to bring it down.
Yeah. And by the time I brought it down, he came down. Now we're hearing each other. Now we're coming to some kind of conclusions. Now we're coming to, so it's like, again, Miss Jerry was like, we can't beat them. You might as well be soft and you might as well be feminine, and then help them to get to how masculine deals with feminine. Because if you try to be masculine and meet that aggression, you will have a problem.
But I think if we understand that femininity is our superpower,
It is.
then we get a lot further. You always.
Why is this not working?
Why is this not working? You always get more with honey than you do vinegar.
We better start being the daggone hive. Anyway, Tania said it's a learning process. You have to recognize when you have that man that's standing up and taking care of things. You learn to fall back some. It's a learned behavior. Girl, because we have been programmed to do something different. Even when we talk about men with each other, you be like, I told him, you know what I mean? So it's like we perpetuate this aggression and then take that back into our relationships, and it's not good. So you're right, it's a learned behavior. She said, because many of us are used to handling situations for ourselves. Exactly. However, when you have that partner that's not stepping up, you have those skills to fall back on. But we always have to remember, leave them on the back burner. Leave that on the back burner. And make sure when you are in the face of whatever it is that you say that this is that you might want, you can't do, all that got to go. All of that has to go. Like, you got to, over here with it. Like, when you with the right person, like, you know, like you said, you sometimes you immediately just start acting soft.
Yeah.
You just be like, oh, oh, okay. You know, but when you with, you know, these people that are not emotionally mature, a lot of times you stay in this masculine energy, like, okay, here we go.
Right. Or they bring you back to it because of their inconsistency.
You can say that again.
Or they bring you back into it because of their inconsistency. Because we want to. We naturally want to be feminine. But if you're not consistently showing us that you can keep us there.
So for the fellas who are watching or may watch this show, let's explain why consistency is important to us. Because I just listened to a one of these, you know, things online. I listened to scientifically why consistency is important to women. But I want you guys to explain it first, and then we'll come back to it.
All right. I guess since I said it. Consistency shows security for me. Like, if you're consistent and I can rely on you, I feel secure. You're helping me bring down my walls with that consistency.
Tiffany?
Yeah. I felt that consistency, the right kind of consistency, because you can be consistent doing.
I mean, you could be saying what you're doing every day.
No.
Or good morning with no substance either. So, but go ahead.
Oh, please don't get me started. My how you feeling text messages. I'm like, oh my God, and I stop answering.
Right. Because you just like, this is pointless. It's pointless. There's no substance.
No
it's going
substance.
nowhere. But anyway, go ahead, Tiff.
It gives me a chance to realize that you can be trusted and that I can trust you with me. Consistency shows me that there's an element of what you say is believable and factual, because some things can be believable and they could be lies. So there's a component of believability and something being factual, and I can trust you.
Okay. Shalonda?
Consistency.
Okay. So The thing I was watching said that one of the reasons why women require consistency, and Jess, you started on this, it's not because it shows security, it is security, right? And so scientifically speaking, when we don't hear, if we have a man and we don't hear from said man from whatever period of time, our bodies scientifically, naturally go into worry. And we go into worry and we go into panic. And not the panic of, oh my God, you know, he might be out doing something or this, that, or the other. But it's the panic of, I'm supposed to be with a man. There is no man present. I am not in contact with the man. So my body naturally is telling me that now I have to become this version in order to protect myself. I now have to protect myself because there's no man around. So, you know, historically, if there is no man in the village or all of your men have disappeared, you as a woman, your DNA and genetically what you have to do changes when there are no men that are no longer present. And as women, we still have that scientific makeup. So that's why when women are ghosted, that's why we go into a panic.
I want to throw this mic right now.
We go into a panic, right? Our bodies biologically go into a panic without consistency. Our bodies biologically go into a panic when you're ghosted, right? Because you're like, oh my God, no man now. What am I supposed to do?
That abandonment, Toya.
That's what it is.
That abandonment.
That abandonment will change your DNA. Because now you're not in a feminine space. You're not in this place where you can be soft because now you're in protection mode. Now you're in the I am the protector mode. I have to be the protector now. There's no man around. So now I have to do all the things I saw him do or all the things that I know that he does because now there's no one around. So it's like when you have a man that's in your space and now he goes out of your space, biologically, it does something to us. And it's like, that's what I want men to know when you think you're not talking to somebody just cause or this, that, or the other. It's like, no, we have a biological reaction to that. It's not because I'm crazy. It's not because I'm scorned. It's not because of something that happened in a previous relationship. It's not because he did it and you paying for it. It's not because of any of those things. It is science that we act and behave like that. You know what I mean? So for all the men watching, you know, I just want y'all to know that's science. That's biology. That is just who we are as women. That is a part of our makeup. So again, it's not that it shows security. It is security for us.
That's beautiful.
It is security for us. That's amazing. So, you know, it's like, men, we're not crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not crazy. We ain't blowing up your phone because we just want to. Or because we're psycho, or because you want us to, you know, we want y'all to sit up under us, or any. No, our bodies are biologically doing something to us.
You ain't never lied.
That put us in that space, right? Miss Jerry said, "Amen." Right, Miss Jerry, amen. Right. So you know, it's like there's reasons for all of this, and I want our men to know that. So before they go off the deep end saying, you know, all these different and terrible things about us, especially as black women, you know. One of the things that we're trying to do here with Bridging the Gap is understanding, you know, from both sides. You know, understanding, and you can't bridge the gap if you're not having these conversations. So, oh, dag, it's past 8 o'clock.
Oh.
Ah, okay. So, already it's past 8 o'clock. Already, okay. Listen. So next week, because unfortunately, you know, I gotta end the show already because we start talking and it feels like a few minutes.
It sure does.
But I do feel like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I do feel like all of us are learning. Yeah. I do feel like all of us are growing, and the men too. I do feel like all of us are learning. I do feel like all of us are growing and getting something from having these conversations and then taking them back into our communities and, you know, having these discussions. And I feel like we're doing that. So I do feel like this whole process is working. So that's why, you know, we are definitely going to continue on with it. But, you know, I'm always thankful to you all for being transparent and for sharing your journey because you do have something to impart for sharing your journeys and sharing, your opinions and your perspectives and your thoughts on a lot of that, because it's all of our journeys are important, right? And especially as a community, if we're going to try to get together, we have to listen to the experiences of all, not just some, right? So, okay. Unfortunately, we got to come to the end of the show. But we will be back not next week. Not next week. My son is graduating from college next week, y'all. So shout out to him. Let me clap him up. Yes, my baby's graduation is next Tuesday, so we will not have a show next Tuesday because my baby is graduating from college, so I will not be here. But the Tuesday after that, we are going to come back, and that's when I'm going to bring some therapists in. So I'm going to bring Coach Trev in, I'm going to bring Dr. Darcella in, and then we're just going to go through all of it. Okay. All the questions, all the what does this mean, all of the where do I go from here? I was traumatized by this, that happened. I don't know how to do this. This might be too healthy and I don't know how to deal with it. So all of the things when we come back. So that won't be on the 20th, but on the 27th, we'll be back in studio. So that's good. Okay. That's good. All right, thank you. I love y'all.
Love you too.
I love y'all. I love y'all.
This was amazing as usual.
To everybody here that watched tonight, thank you so much to all of the comments that were in here. I thank all of you for watching. I love you all for watching, and I love you all for listening. And God willing, I'll be back here on the 27th with Miss Queen B. Same time, same place, different show, and learning more. Because that's what we need to be doing, learning more. So, all right, Jeff, take us away. Bye, everybody. See y'all next time. Take us away.